Cracking open in duels. Starting off the night out right. Travis Kriens there. Charlie Hildebrand there. Nathan Stacken may be joining us. He had an awful week. He had one team that he didn't want to win. They won. He had one team that he really wanted to win. They didn't win. Then he had one final team that he wanted them to win. And goddamn it, they won a game. Vikings 17-14.
It was basically like those stories you hear about a gambler that's down to just like taking his Rolex off and gambling that at the very end as a last-ditch resort. And he doubled down, I guess, and got to 21 and hit blackjack, and now he doesn't have to have a conversation with his wife. That would have been unfortunate about how he lost the mortgage to the house.
First two kids, wife, gone. This is Sports Lounge 187. It's a new era at Hildebrand. We've done many different varieties of the show, and this year a slightly different thing with the Google Hangout live streaming thing dead. So it's not live streaming. We might get that going here in a bit, but it is recorded, and then later on we upload it to YouTube. So we go that route. So we've done the radio show on a station that goes out about 10 miles. We just did it over the phone for a while. Then we did these hangouts, and now we do it this way. So
just like when we used to play Pokemon, because I'm sure Kriens is secretly a Pokemon guy, so that those pocket monsters just keep evolving and changing over time.
That's right. It's
Sports Lounge.
Always something different with those goddamn pocket monsters that you speak of. You see most of this game, second half of this game, some of this game.
I saw almost all of it. Now, granted, since I am not either a diehard Vikings or Packers fan, it did not have 100% of my attention all the time, but I saw all the big moments and the ins and outs of it.
Neither, and Mr. Schottenkirk joins us, neither did the first half get my goddamn emotions going, if I can keep it clean here. First half, pretty brutal. Second half, there was actually more scoring in the first half than the second half, but storyline-wise, the second half was very exciting. Mr. Schottenkirk, are you there?
Sure am.
There we go. We can kind of hear Mr. Schottenkirk there. You see the whole game?
I saw every snap, yep.
Impressions of the quarterback?
One game, Green Bay didn't have their best corner, but he played 1,000 times better than anyone thought he was going to.
Offensive line, still garbage. So that's not good.
Still garbage. Everyone making fun of AP, go for it. His career might be over. It'd be fine.
I like it.
But I'll tell you straight out, they're not a better team when he's hurt. I can tell you that with 100% certainty.
Offensive line not helping things out as far as the running game is concerned. So I hope he's out for the rest of the year. I hope he doesn't play again for the Vikings. I've hoped that for a couple of years now. And it does not look good. So that's good. So you got Asiata, McKinnon, and I assume C.J. Ham would come off the practice squad and fill that void there. And he looked pretty good in the preseason for a undrafted rookie. So we got that to look forward to. Yes.
You can. Jarek McKinnon's fine. Asiata is what he is. There's a reason. There's a reason Bradford looked as good as they did because they didn't trust him. They didn't trust him at all. He's like, if you're going to beat us, make Bradford beat us. Guess what? He beat us. AP looked like shit. There was 8 guys in the box. There's no running back in the league would have done anything different tonight.
With Adrian Peterson hurt, and since obviously Teddy Bridgewater's hurt, and they traded for Sam Bradford off that 08 Oklahoma team, I would recommend they also now trade for DeMarco Murray so they can reunite Sam Bradford and DeMarco Murray and just have the Vikings ride off into the promised land then as Super Bowl champs.
I like it. 2 games in for Adrian Peterson. Hopefully the only 2 games he plays this year. They were not good, so that's a low bar. Asiata came in and had a 12-yard run.
Low bar is that offensive line's been the worst in the NFL the last 2 games too. So and they spent all the money. They got Alex Boone. They're supposed to be good. That was absolutely atrocious. No running back in the league right now would have done anything different in the last 2 years.
Like if you give Asiata and McKinnon 12 carries tonight, they get more than 19 yards. And Asiata almost did that. But just because they brought in some new guys offensively on the offensive line, That doesn't mean they're any better. And running-wise, they're not any good.
The reason they brought him in was to be better, and it hasn't worked. That should be a red flag. It's a red flag moving forward. They're going to get murdered next week at Carolina, just in case anybody's wondering.
I was wondering. The defense looks good. They're going to hold most teams under 20 points, and if they can do that, they're probably going to win 11 games or so here. Stephon Diggs, son of a bitch. This guy, 9 catches, 182 yards, touchdown. If they wanted a touchdown on that last play, they could have gave it to him. Had the awful 15-yard penalty for coming off the bench without a helmet for some reason. But he had one of the best games any Viking receivers had in probably 6-7 years, probably since Favre in 2009. Diggs, Charlie Hildebrand, your thoughts on a 5th-round pick from Maryland 2 years ago?
You don't always think of Maryland guys as being great, but there have been some good Maryland guys in the pros, and obviously he looked good tonight. If you're a Vikings fan, you'd hope that he can keep that up. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know how they're going to treat their offense 8 games from now as Bradford gets more comfortable and with the offense and the guys he's around, but he played well tonight. And it's the NFL, so try to win each game. They won tonight. They can move forward. They're one of only a handful of 2-0 teams in the league right now.
Name when I say good Maryland guy or Maryland star, who comes to mind? One name popped up for me, not that it was any good in the pros, but just the first name that popped.
E.J. Henderson?
Who do you got, John Kirk?
Does he have to be a football player?
Nope.
Juan Dixon.
Juan Dixon, folks. There it is. Ding, ding, ding. Juan
I didn't
Dixon.
know we were going basketball, too. But, yeah, if we're going basketball, he would have been probably the first one that would have popped into my head also.
I also would have accepted Chris Wilcox.
Or Steve Blake.
Or Steve Blake, a third choice. Some great Maryland guys of all time. So, defense looks good. Rodgers had 213 yards. They give up yards between the 20s and the 30s. But pretty difficult to score. Fumbles last week versus Tennessee turned into points. They had 4 fumbles this week, only got 1 of them. So creating turnovers, putting the ball on the ground, that's a good thing. And hopefully Xavier Rhodes can be back soon because Trey Waynes got fucking shredded today. Penalties galore. Came up with the interception there that basically wrapped it up at the end. Stacking, we'll see if he gets here. Any football thoughts, NFL-wise, before we go to college? Anything stick out today?
I was really glad that my Dolphins could pretend to mount a comeback against a third-string quarterback, and then at the end just be like, you know what?
Close enough.
We're not good enough. We're not good enough to win this game. Let's be serious.
How did San Francisco score whatever the hell they scored on Carolina? They scored 27. Some turnovers. What is this?
I watched some of that game. Blaine Gabbert actually didn't play like complete horseshit for the first time in a long time. It was kind of out of reach, and the last touchdown was kind of garbage. Carolina was up by 20 plus. Pat ain't got the pass, broke a tackle, went 70 yards. But that Chip Kelly usually can score points, just a matter of everything else doing consistently. But that was a deceiving scoreline. There was several deceiving scorelines today.
Others.
What's that?
The deceiving scores. What do we got here?
Deceiving score today. Oakland, Atlanta put up 500 yards somehow, some way, because Jack Del Ree's a fucking idiot. Is Atlanta a better team than Oakland if they played that game 10 times? No. Did they win today? Absolutely. That's the game in the NFL. If Green Bay, Minnesota played that same game 10 times like they did tonight, it'd probably be 5-5 or 6-4 Minnesota. Did Minnesota look like the best team today? Yes. Should they have won by a lot more? This is where the game was going?
Probably.
Yes. Was Green Bay still in the game at the end? Yes. Welcome to the NFL. More often than not, it's a one-possession game with 5 minutes left.
Funny how that
also,
works.
remember when the Seahawks had a good offense?
9-3.
It's September.
That's true.
Nathan Stackin, are you here, folks? Look at this. Mr. Stackin, not the worst week of your life. One of your teams won. Look at you go.
You can see the news being taken down in the background.
Hey, Stackin, just before you start, let me warn you. I am recording this, and I will take stock. anything you say, I will use it against you later in the year if it's really stupid. Go ahead.
On that note, I really don't have much to say.
Impressions of the game, Stacking. Defense, good. Quarterback. I probably would have started Sean Hill because Bradford's been there 2 weeks, and it's somewhat amazing he did what he did. One of the best.
I think that would have been a colossal mistake starting Sean Hill. Bradford was the reason why the Vikings won tonight.
I'd say the defense was the reason why.
You know what?
I would say
agree. Defense. The score of this game was like the Vikings should have. It never should have been this close. Terrence interception. It dropped it on the Packers' second touchdown drive. If Sandejo could hang on to that football there in the first quarter instead of getting stripped by Randall Cobb, that kind of changes it. So game was blocked. Should have been. Mike Zimmer's got the defense, it appears, to not stop Aaron Rodgers, but at the very least contain him. And Rodgers probably needs to work on his ball security a little bit.
I would say this is a game, Vikings had 10 points well into the third quarter. And this is a game where if the other team's ahead like 21-10, we're like saying, offense, you got to do something better than this. But then because it was 10-7, 14-10, 17-14, the offense, which wasn't good. I mean, the running game, again, was just awful. We've talked about the offensive line and how they're somehow worse than last year. And, I mean, it was all Bradford to Diggs. Bradford to Diggs, that was the deal. That was your offense tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line through 2 weeks has been awful. And this was supposed to be a rebuilt offensive line. Boone was supposed to help. Andre Smith is supposed to help. And maybe they just need a little more time to gel. I thought pass protection against Tennessee was decent. But tonight it was not good. And I'm not going to blame Adrian Peterson because it seemed like every time he got the ball, there was a Packer in the backfield already waiting for him. So I think the offensive line clearly is the biggest weakness on this team through 2 weeks. But if the rest of the NFL didn't know receiver now on the Vikings, and his name is Stephon Diggs. I mean, to be in company with Chris Carter and whoever else that other guy was for 150 or 100-plus yards receiving the first 2 games of the season, that's pretty good work. And a beautiful deep ball now.
Oh, look at this.
The Vikings can actually throw the ball down the field.
How long until you buy a Stephon Diggs jersey, Stacken?
Well, my birthday's coming up here in 2 months, so let's wait and see if we have one then.
Is he if we're ranking jerseys for Stacking to buy next, is there a top 3 you have?
I'd say
number 1 is the German wide receiver. What the is that?
Harsh.
That's right. I forgot about Mobile.
Oh, my God. You forgot about him.
I'd have to say Harrison Smith would be up there. And Stephon Diggs. I mean, Teddy's now kind of on the back burner because we have to see how, because you want to project long-term viability. I got a Jason Witten jersey
he's still
10
playing.
years ago.
Still playing.
And he's still playing. I don't go for the star. You got to project long-term with these things here. So I would say Diggs or Harrison Smith. Maybe Anthony Barr.
So you don't go for the star, except
Diggs
for
is
the
definitely
jersey
top 3.
that literally has a star on it.
Yes, that is. I guess that would be ironic, isn't it?
Where does Tom Johnson rank on your list?
Big Tom Johnson. He's probably like in the 20s somewhere.
Shoot. Good for him. Good win. Obviously you won't be surprised, Stack, and I hope the running back never plays again. Your thoughts on the injured running back? Do you think it is the ACL? Do you think it's something minor?
I think it's a rupture. I think it
Ooh, the Achilles. I like the Achilles. Good.
They said like 5 times in the broadcast it was his knee, so I don't think it's the Achilles.
Well,
That's a serious question.
Charlie.
Yeah.
The Vikings have a new stadium that looks really nice and everything. Did they spend all their money on the stadium and not have any money for the carts, though,
They did.
to drive injured players around? Because it was odd seeing a very wealthy NFL player doing like what high schools do, where it's like, nope, we got our arms around you. You got to keep hopping the whole way there. This is the only way it's going to work. And it's just been so long since I remember seeing that. At least, like a few steps is different, but like
all the way.
No, we got a long ways to go. You got to keep hopping.
I'm kind of wondering about the turf. Or I guess it was brought up several times about the turf. I think it's just a freak thing. You have a bunch of
It's football.
Getting the punt. Daniil Hunter got injured. Brian Robinson. It's not good. We came out of this. The Vikings came out of this game very banged up.
Call Governor
I don't
Dayton.
anticipate them beating Carolina on Sunday.
You don't.
No.
Okay. Neither does Schottenkirk.
Where's it at?
Carolina.
At Carolina.
Charlie doesn't anticipate the Vikings winning at Carolina either, man.
I look very much forward to my favorite team taking on my second favorite team. Drew Ammons, North Carolina Panthers. Look at them go. Newton. Where do we use the bathroom stacking? Where the bathroom's at, nobody knows. So hopefully that's not a situation that comes up in trouble. Maybe the Vikings will protest. Maybe they won't even show up.
That's true. I'm also wondering if maybe ESPN Radio's Jeff Dickinson or Dick say that it's the South Carolina Panthers.
Well, they did play their first year in Clemson.
Clearly he's having some issues with his Carolinas.
You know that 75% of Americans don't know the difference between North and South Carolina.
That doesn't shock me.
There you go. I hope the Bears beat the Eagles. Yes.
Are these the Trump voters, quickly?
They're all Trump voters. Everything south of Kentucky. Middle of Kentucky down, Trump voters. I hope the Bears beat the Eagles. Monday, one of the reasons why, because if that happens, then 12 teams in the NFC will be 1-1. There will be 2 0-2 teams and 2 2-0 teams. So I like that a whole hell of a lot.
It's a parody.
Parity is good. College football now, sir. Louisville. They were impressive, so I wear the hat. Charlie, when was the last time in the regular season you saw the number 2 team in the country get the shit kicked out of them like Florida State did yesterday?
When Schottenkirk's Trojans beat Oklahoma in the national title game in like 2004, I guess. It's been a while since I've seen the number 2 team just get, unless I'm blanking on one, like just absolutely worked up and down the field like that.
Is Michael Vick the comparison to Lamar Jackson? He's a better thrower.
I don't have a better compare. I don't know if it's a perfect comparison. I don't have a better one off the top of my head. I think maybe I might compare him more to Vince Young than Michael Vick. Vince Young with a better throwing motion. Vince Young always had kind of a goofy throwing motion, but I guess that doesn't matter as much in college. But either way, he's one of just like a handful of quarterbacks in recent years that are good enough throwing it and running it that you're just kind of screwed if they're they don't even have to have a great game. If they're just sort of on, you've got to really play well against them. And I thought that this was going to be the big test to see, how good is he? Because they, Syracuse and Charleston Southern or whatever probably don't have great stiff competition, but certainly I think Florida State was stiff competition, or at least stiff enough that we can say that, this is he's pretty good.
530 yards. Louisville, Florida State had 283. So they jump up in the polls this week, all the way up to number 3?
And Lamar Jackson's getting most of the credit, which, I mean, that's understandable, and he deserves it. But the Louisville defense just stonewalled the Florida. Like, I think Florida State only had 10 points midway through the fourth quarter. They scored twice in garbage time. Maybe it was just once in garbage time. But this is the best-looking Louisville defense in a while.
David, we got a game coming up in a couple weeks. Clemson and Louisville. I think it's at Clemson. Is it too much to say if Louisville wins that game, they win the conference, they got a game up on the top 2 teams? Is it that ridiculous to say that?
If they win at Clemson, they're going to win the conference. Are they going to beat Houston? If they win at Clemson, people are saying beat Clemson, you damn well better win the conference.
Where do you got them, Schottenkirk? 1, 2, 3?
What's that?
Is 3 too high, or is that about right?
3 feels right. It's September. I really don't care about the polls until the middle of October. But at 1 and 2 seems pretty clear. 3 seems pretty clear. Then after that, I really don't know what my 4 through 7 or 8 would be at this point. Michigan got a little bit of a test. Anyways, Colorado. Stanford beat the fuck out of USC. Ohio State. Very impressive at Oklahoma. For me, this might sound crazy, but I was not as impressed. It was pretty freaking close. I was very, very, very impressed by Ohio State going to Oklahoma in a game everyone knew Oklahoma had to win, and they still went in there and kind of pantsed them in Louisville. That was as impressive to me as Louisville what they did to Florida State. Because we had this debate yesterday. You're not going to believe me, and I'm going to say it again. Florida State quit midway through the third quarter. They quit. Louisville's not 40 points better than that. Never.
Well, by that time, they're already down by 35 points. So they quit or not, they were going to lose by 35, 45, 55.
If they played that game 10 times in Louisville and 10 times in Tallahassee, it's 5-5 both places. Things happen.
Good.
Was USC 35 points better than Oklahoma when they beat them in the title game Charlie mentioned? Absolutely not. But on that night, USC came to play and Oklahoma didn't.
They play once, and that's what happened in that game. Nathan, do you feel confident right now, 3 games in, saying the Big 12 is fucked?
I mean, it's not even a question.
Really?
To pull Mark Schler, there's no question about. So you asked the question.
Okay.
No, they're done. I mean, they're just done. Texas was their lone Hail Mary shot, and they burned that bridge by losing to Cal. Oklahoma's done.
Hail Mary, it's Baylor because Baylor hasn't lost yet.
I'm just going to discount Baylor right now as not being a factor.
They're going to win 10 games.
Certainly, if they are undefeated, I don't anticipate they will be getting through that Big 12 gauntlet with 0 losses. Not going to happen.
I agree.
Charlie, who benefits the most from the Big 12 being done? ACC looks like they've got. I mean, Florida State, if they win out, they got a good chance of making it. I think the Big Ten's looking really good right now. They got 3 teams undefeated, and neither of them are going to lose here for the next 3-4 weeks at least.
Things are going to change a lot over the next few months, but at least based off what we thought going into the season, I would say the Pac-12 benefits the most from the Big 12 losing. Because everyone was saying that the Pac-12 is going to beat each other up, and there's no way anyone's going to get through the Pac-12 with 1 loss, or with no losses, and maybe nobody gets through with just 1 loss. If you're a 2-loss Pac-12 champ and you win the conference, depending on how other things play out, I think you will have a better, and this is assuming that the Big 12 doesn't do anything, which they still could, but the Big 12 by far is most behind the 8 ball, I guess, to use a pool cliche, because that translates well to football. But I think that, at one point, we're going to have to find out at some point if the committee, how important conference titles are. If they're going to take a 2-loss conference champ or a 1-loss team that didn't win their conference. And there's a good chance that we could find that out this year. And I think that the Pac-12 would be the most likely to benefit from the fact that the Big 12 basically has crapped their pants every which way so far.
Year 3 of the playoff.
I'm looking at
Yes. Nebraska.
looking at no.
Oh, hell.
November 17th is the biggest intriguing to me regarding the college football playoff.
Is it Louisville and Houston?
When Louisville and Houston square up in an eliminator game to determine which team makes it to the college football playoff. Maybe both teams will get in.
Well,
but that is a big game.
Here's what's going to happen.
What do we got?
This might not happen, but here's what's going to happen. Louisville's going to lose at Clemson in 2 weeks, and Louisville's going to beat Houston, and both of them are going to have one loss, and they're both going to be fucked.
I would agree with that. I think that is likely.
I also like the what if Louisville beats both Clemson and Houston? Or sorry, let me rephrase that. Louisville beats Clemson. Houston beats Louisville, but then Houston loses to South Florida in the AAC conference title game.
Then it's all shit. That's what would happen. We're 3 weeks into the deal here, and it seems to me like, LSU is out. They were something to begin with. Larry, I think he had Oklahoma in the playoff. They're done. It seems like, and a lot of these teams are still going to play each other. There's maybe, 15 teams left here in this playoff discussion. I think, like, Florida's undefeated. That's cute. Your offense is garbage, and your quarterback got hurt. Tennessee's shit. Georgia, for fuck's sake. Anybody in the East of the SEC. Anybody in the East or anybody in the SEC not named Alabama. I'm intrigued by Arkansas. Maybe they win 10 games, and maybe they're the second best team in the conference. But, you're going to have all these teams play each other, and I don't know if there's an undefeated team in the bunch here at the end of the deal. And I hope this scenario comes where the Big Ten, those 3 teams all beat each other, and I hope they all have one loss. And I just want to see how that would play out. And if maybe they're a conference that can get more than one team in. North Dakota State stacking, how'd they do?
I'm not going to talk about this.
The lone really bad thing for the Big Ten this weekend.
Whoops. Iowa.
I mean, just don't schedule them.
This is the UCLA Bruins, which is just fucking.
Where would you rank North Dakota State among, are they a top 40 team?
Top 40, maybe top 40.
Where would they finish in the Big Ten West?
Third.
Behind Nebraska and Wisconsin. And or Iowa.
At this point, we can go.
Charlie?
Like, also, it would depend on who they're playing from the East too. Like, if you cherry pick it, and
give them Iowa's shitty schedule with Michigan on it.
Well, I was going to say, if you give them Minnesota's schedule, I don't remember all of Minnesota's cross-division games, but if it's like, if you're playing, Rutgers, Maryland, and Indiana from the East, that's going to be much, much easier.
I don't think Minnesota plays any of the Big Three.
If North Dakota State was in the Big Ten West, I think they'd finish like 7-5. I think that there would be games where they would look really good, but the injuries would affect them more because they don't have as many scholarships.
So North Dakota State wins. At this point, they've won 6 in a row.
I hope they could put in the Big 12, not to interrupt, but the Big 12 should have NDSU.
The only thing.
We can stop bemoaning the fact that they're going to win 10 straight fucking titles at the FCS level.
I hate North Dakota State and wish them zero success ever, but part of me kind of agrees with you that they should just join the Big 12.
The only thing I think stopping them is their stadium. They need a new, bigger stadium, I believe, at least 30,000 or whatever the hell the requirement is. And at this point, it's like, you've won all the national titles. You beat the FBS teams. There's nothing else to do. You've done it all. There's no reason to be continuing in FCS now. So it's like, move up or do something else, because
Fun fact, not going to get here, but I'd be very, very, very surprised if they do go undefeated. I think they're going to lose a conference game again this year.
Well, like their first two games, they're both in overtime, and they both easily could have lost both of them. Similar to Georgia, Georgia and North Dakota State, they could all be 0-3, but they're all 3-0. With one of those years.
Yeah, but NDSU, again, they play Charleston Southern and Eastern Washington, two very other good teams in the FCS. And then, yeah, they had to get a last-second field. If you watch that second half, NDSU was a better team, and it was mind-blowing to see. They were more physical. They were everything Iowa was supposed to be. They were that times 10.
There were a few situations, kicking-wise, at the late of games. Stacking, the most egregious of which I saw, this was early on Sunday morning, between Texas and Cal. Texas is down 7. They got the ball around their own 25 or so. It's like a 4th and 10. There's a minute 40 left. I think they have 2 timeouts. And Charlie Strong decides, I want to punt. I want to give the ball to a Cal offense that's already put up damn near 50 points on me. And I think I can stop them and get the ball back. Best case scenario, I get the ball back at my own 20-yard line, right where I punted the ball from, with like 40 seconds left. This was the worst decision. This is awful.
He's a damn fool. He's getting rid of all that goodwill he got for beating Notre Dame. That stupid move, stupid decision. Agree with it. I just don't understand why he would be a good idea. More egregious thing in that game though was the Cal player who just decided don't give a shit about getting the ball. We're gonna drop it at the 1, and then the refs saying, "Oh no, no recovery and then time." So Cal, here you get it. Instead of giving it to Texas at the 20 like it should be.
If you read the rule in the rule book, I don't disagree, but if you read the rule in the rule book, the refs got it right.
What constitutes an immediate recovery? That's the gray area.
Immediate recovery, I don't have the exact definition, but just immediate recovery is an instant reaction to the ball on the ground. And I've watched the replay so many times, there was a little bit of a delay before they started moving towards it, and I get why they called what they did, even though I completely disagree with it.
The only reason they did is because they wanted to go home and go to bed. They knew that if they gave Texas the ball back, it was going to go 6 overtimes and then be up till 5 in the morning.
The other call.
I'm not trying. Just they, in the Clemson South Carolina State game, South Carolina State got it taking a knee after
Yes.
on the kickoff for a touchback. He just dropped it to the ref. I'm just wondering if it's the same kind of comparison. Like, did Clemson make a recovery in a fast amount of time there? I guess I would use that same sort of
Logic.
Time for the Texas Cal situation too. I'd be essentially the same rule should apply.
Because in both cases, it's a live ball. And did they blow the whistle dead with the touchdown? Apparently, they must have called it a touchdown. Apparently,
they did.
To say, okay, then I would say that's probably your difference there. If they don't signal touchdown, they don't blow the whistle, then it's a live ball. Then you can go for it. But unfortunate situation there. Kick number 2, Charlie, was a Notre Dame game. About 3.5 minutes left. They punted. They never got the ball back. They're down by 8. Or they kicked off, or I think they punted. Ole Miss kicked off.
Notre Dame punted.
Do you agree with that call? They never got the ball back. It was again like a 4th and 7, I want to say. 3.5 minutes left, deep in their territory, but that was the game.
I think ultimately I would agree with you that I think they should have gone for it, but the kind of difference is that even though Notre Dame's defense hadn't played well, they had at least played better of recently and had surrendered fewer points than Texas had to Cal at that point in the game. And that Michigan State, while good, is not as dynamic offensively as Cal is. So I think I'm more okay with Notre Dame trying to do it. but I would still say, I mean, when you've got you were down 36-7, so you're basically playing with house money at that point. So you might as well go for it.
And the last one, David, would be Ole Miss. They kicked off. No onside kick. And they never got the ball back. So at least that one, it wasn't a punt. You're trying to pin your opponent deep. And that fumble came out of nowhere that Alabama got back. So Ole Miss almost had the big comeback after losing a 21-point lead. Are you okay with Ole Miss kicking off there at the end of that game?
Not really, but I know why they did it. Would I have kicked off? No, but that's a different situation than the ones we're talking about. It's still, if somehow, some way Alabama would have been blown that, the whole state would have collapsed. On itself, Saban would have killed somebody. There'd have been fans marching in the streets wanting him fired. They would have lost the 17 3 years in a row. So I'm kind of glad, even though I don't like him, I'm kind of glad they held on to one.
Very
if it would have played out like you were saying, we would have 49 U.S. states and Grand Leader Saban in Alabama right now, which would be its own country unto itself.
The Alabama offense scored 27. The defense and special teams scored 21. So, very good for Alabama. Number one team in the country. Best game besides Ole Miss and Alabama. Best back and forth game, Charlie, was Oregon, Nebraska. Points in the game where both defenses looked like shit. But good back and forth game. And Oregon decides we want to go for two every time, and that probably cost them the game. We were talking a few hours ago. Biggest win for Nebraska, not counting a shitty team beating Michigan State last year. Would you say most exciting win? Most, goddamn, we might be 6-0, 7-0. We might make the Big Ten title game again. Biggest win since when?
Since either 2011 against Michigan State or 2010 against Missouri. I think Michigan, I don't remember which of those two was ranked higher. The Missouri win was a more fun game to watch. The Michigan State win was a really actually gross game, but Nebraska won like 20-3. But those would be, so it's probably been 5 years or so, because most of their good wins recently are against, other than the Michigan State one last year, are against teams that are like finished the season 8-5. And I guess Oregon might still finish that. So who knows?
What's wrong with Oregon? There's the quarterback. The running back got injured right away. Defense isn't very good. They'll win, 8-9 games, whatever. Is it the quarterback or what's the deal?
I think part of it's the quarterback, and I don't think their quarterback's bad. They've just been on an incredibly good run of quarterbacks, going all the way back to Kriens' guy, Jeremiah Masoli, before he got kicked out of school and had to go to Ole Miss. I mean, before Prukop, Masoli's probably their next worst quarterback in the last 6 or 7 years, and he was pretty good at running that offense. And then Mariota's like one of the all-time greatest college quarterbacks ever. And they've just had so many quarterbacks that were, even Vernon Adams last year, like when he was hurt, he wasn't good. When he was healthy, he was great at running their offense. And they just go from quarterbacks that, are operating the offense at least like a solid A level to a guy doing it at like a B level, and he's fine, but it's just not, the same high-tuned machine. Instead of a Ferrari, it's more like a BMW or a Mercedes now. I mean, it's good, but they had 100-some yards in penalties, and then, like you said, they went for 2 5 times after 5 touchdowns and got it the first time, but missed it all the other times.
Stacking. It would seem to me they usually go for 2 on their first touchdown. Michigan State did the same thing, and then Michigan State kicks extra points the rest of the way, and they win by 8. If Oregon does that, they probably win this game.
Yeah, I mean, 1 for 5. What did I see? The stat. It's like the worst 2-point conversion percentage, failed attempts sometime. I mean, we talked about SEC teams like LSU not being able to recruit a quarterback. Maybe that perhaps Oregon
Get a kicker.
has the same issue with recruiting a kicker. I think this should be a high priority. I understand their logic, but if it fails, I'd maybe consider going to get the for sure 1 point.
I didn't have any issue going with it at all. To be honest with you, it was when they line up, they're looking at what they're getting in formation from the defense. If they have what they want, they run the play. If more of the 4 failed 2-point conversions, 2 of the 4 probably should have been converted, and the other 2 were pretty good defensive plays to deny them. So I don't have any problem with the call. Execution's a different story.
I would say after you probably missed 2 in a row, I'm like, okay, this might cost us 3 points. This game's close. We're probably needing those 3 points. Let's kick from here on out. Team Schottenkirk liked early on was Nebraska. They got at Wisconsin, at Ohio State in a month. But the next 4 games, I'm sure Charlie will agree. Easy street at Northwestern. Easy street with Indiana, Purdue.
In theory,
Yes.
Mike Riley coach teams have been known to at times lose weird games they shouldn't lose, kind of like Purdue last year. So, but certainly, if you look at their schedule, they should definitely win the next 4 games.
David, you like them to win the West now?
With what I saw yesterday, it's hard not to. And honestly, until I see them beat Northwestern next week, which they absolutely should, I'll withhold it. But if they beat Northwestern in that game, they're going to be my pick to represent the West.
Charlie, Bobby Petrino, does he go to an SEC team pretty soon?
Well, he's not going to go to Arkansas. I can tell you that.
Good.
It's tough.
Will a school say, yeah, we want this guy to be our coach?
Some might, but depending on how well he does at Louisville, I mean, it might be more attractive to stay at Louisville with Lamar Jackson. And then I don't know. Like, I'm not going to pretend to personally know Bobby Petrino and know, like, how well he values certain relationships and everything.
Oh, I don't think he gives a shit at all.
And they hired him back the second time after getting fired at Arkansas when most people looked at him like he was, poison or something and didn't want anything to do with him. And Louisville brought him back. I mean, it's possible he could look at that and like the trust they showed in him and the loyalty or whatever and want to stick around at Louisville for a while because, I mean, that's the best he's ever done before now was when he was at Louisville the first time before he left for the Falcons. So, I mean, I'm never going to put it past him to be a mercenary and leave and go somewhere else, but at least now, the way they've got it set up, like I wouldn't be shocked if he's there for at least as long as Lamar Jackson's there.
Update us on your...
Who leaves first?
Obama or Petrino?
Who leaves first,
Go.
Bobby Petrino or Tom Herman?
Tom Herman's gone.
Yeah. I think Tom Herman's gone after this year.
I don't think he is if Houston gets an invite to the Big 12.
Well, okay. If Houston joins the Big 12, that might change things. So
there's a small part of me that wants you to see you go 2-10 to have a chance of firing.
Is this a must-win at Utah? My Utes, is this a must-win?
No, but it probably should be honest, because you look at he's 7-6 as the full-time guy, and 7-6 USC gets you fired. So if he loses Friday night, will he get fired? No, but I've been wrong before. But let's say this: if he loses at Utah, the next 4 games after that, if he doesn't win all 4, he'll be gone. Like
this is where USC should be 1-2 right now. Lose to Stanford, lose to Alabama, tough as fuck schedule. I had them at 6-6.
They should be 1-2, but they shouldn't be getting run off the fucking field by. Yes, they're 2 of the best teams in the country, but they didn't even look like they belong in the same field. And they have 5 stars up and down the goddamn roster, and it looked like he pitched the second time this season.
How's the quarterback?
A game manager at best. He sat for 3-4 years. He's had some throws, but the play calling's been awful. Juju Smith's probably a top 20 pick next year's NFL draft. he's got less than 10 catches this year, or right around 10 catches in 3 games. That's unacceptable. Get him the ball. He's a playmaker. It's the offensive line, for everyone talking about how good it was supposed to be, hasn't been great. And yeah, they played Alabama defensive line and Stanford's defensive line. They ran the ball okay last night, but I didn't expect them to win either of the games. I picked them last night because I was drunk, but that's a whole different issue. 1 and 2 is 1 and 2. But if they were 1 and 2 and they lost both games by 7, we wouldn't have any really issue because we'd be okay in the conference. Now you're 1 and 2. You're going to Utah on a short week. Don't play a pretty decent Utah team. 1 and 3 is very, very likely.
Well,
Why does USC keep hiring famous people to be athletic director with no experience as athletic directors?
That's a whole. we could be here until 3 o'clock in the morning if I answer that. But yeah, that's something for a different day.
I believe there was also a situation in that game where they, I don't know, what was it, 8 minutes left, 9 minutes left, they punted at the 50 or so. What was it, 4th and whatever? Maybe go.
Yeah, it was in the mid-distance, and yeah, he was down 17 or whatever it was at the time, and he punts. And I turned the TV off. It's like, oh, he doesn't want to win, so I guess I'm not watching anymore. So that's when I stopped watching that game.
Charlie, I thought this week was great because the games were perfectly spaced out. There were about 3 games at 11, 2:30, 6, and 9. I thought this was the perfect goddamn week. There weren't 6 games on at once, and there wasn't a block where there was 1 game on. I thought this was as even as a schedule, time-wise, that you could probably ask for.
I didn't see the game. I had to work, so from about 6 until 10:30, I wasn't watching games. But from what I did see, I would generally agree with that. There were at least 2 good games you could watch at each time frame. You weren't stuck on saying, well, there's only 1 good game, so I don't have anything to watch during commercials or at halftime. And that it wasn't like, okay, there's 6 good games on at night, but we've got crap games at 11 in the morning, which is maybe my least favorite thing, when it's like, oh, you could have put that game at 2:30, but since it's at 7, nobody's going to watch it because they're going to watch these other 2 games instead. So, yeah, I guess I would mostly agree with that.
Nathan Stacken?
Yes.
App State didn't do well.
Nope, they did not.
They missed opportunities.
Were you watching that game, Stacken?
I was flipping back and forth between all 3 of the games. But
Kansas, were you checking out Kansas, Memphis?
Well, let's just put it this way: after they failed to tackle on the very first play and let him go 80 yards, I was like, "Oh, this is not good." So,
did you see that play live?
I did. I was like, bad. So pretty much figured at that point, this is not good. Then I kick off Miami down at the goal line, score a touchdown, make it 24-10. I'm like, okay.
We're coming, folks. We're coming.
Yeah, and then 3rd and 10. This looks really good. And then a big
touchdown.
Pass pretty much took all the wind out of the sails of App State. And then I was like, okay, fuck, I'm just going to look and flip over and watch North, because that's going to happen too. So I went out on a limb. Don't know if maybe it was the way App State played against Tennessee that made Miami a little more pay more attention to the Mountaineers, but one way or the other, Miami was the far better team, and sometimes you get them right, sometimes you get them wrong, and this one I was very much wrong about.
Schottenkirk, would you have the gall to put Tennessee as the 14th best team in the country?
No, but I wouldn't have any issue with them being there because that's what they were preseason and they haven't lost. Have they looked impressive? No. Did they beat a Virginia Tech team by multiple scores? Yes. Is Virginia Tech going to be a decent team in the ACC this year? Yes. Did they play well yesterday against Ohio? No. Are they probably going to be 4-0 after they beat Florida for the first time in 10 years next week? Probably. So, again, rankings in September don't do much for me. Talking about October 15th, I'll tell you where I really issues are with teams that think higher too low.
You bring up a good point. I think I've done this for like the last 3 years. Is this the year that Tennessee's finally going to beat Florida? Or is it going to be just the most painful thing ever for every Tennessee fan in the stadium that they keep showing crowd shots of them doing the surrender Cobras?
The Del Rio kid is out for a couple of weeks. He's an okay quarterback. Their backup's in. I don't know who the hell the backup is, but I would gander.
Austin Appleby, another Purdue transfer.
I mean, we got.
Depending on how long Del Rio's out, we could get Purdue quarterback at Florida against Purdue quarterback at LSU when Florida and LSU play.
He's out 2 to 3 weeks.
Not good.
So the already bad.
2 to 3 weeks for Del Rio.
So hopefully he gets back, because the Florida offense with Del Rio, not impressive. Tennessee's got a stretch here, Charlie. They got Florida at home. Got to win. Got to beat Florida for the first time in a Coons age. You're at Georgia the next week. You're at A&M the week after, and you're versus Alabama the week after that. Where do you see Tennessee ending up here in this 4-game stretch? If do you think right now, if they could sign on the dotted line, we go 2-2? Think they would take that?
Based off what we've seen from everyone else, I think they'd take that in a heartbeat. Well, some would. Some would say we need to go 4-0 because we're Tennessee and we should beat everyone because there's people like that everywhere. But if they go 2-2, especially if their 2 wins are against Florida and Georgia, like you can probably say, all right, no reason to watch any SEC East games the rest of the year. Tennessee's got the division wrapped up.
As the Tennessee guy here, me and Marcus have been on for a year or two, and Marcus has been on since Peyton Manning. But again, with the recruiting and Bush Jones and the whole 9, if they go 2-2 in the next 4, which is probably the most likely thing to do, they'll be just fine, because the last 5 games, if they lose any of the last 5 games, it'll be a pretty massive upset. So go 10-2 and still represent the East in the conference title game. It'll be a pretty decent season. Bush Jones won't have to worry about getting fired.
What if I told you, Stacking, the game
Sounds like the beginning of a 30 for 30.
What if I told you Tennessee could play on New Year's Day and they could be 10-3 or whatever the fuck? What if I told you? Stacking, game of the week for me this week is... Huh?
I'd say time to get hard. But I was just going to say time to get hard if you're going to say Tennessee on New Year's Day.
No big deal. But in our preseason thing, I picked Tennessee to go 10-3 and play Clemson in the Orange Bowl. So we'll not talk about my 4 playoff teams though. We'll talk about something else instead.
Stacking, game of the week for me. A&M hosting Arkansas. Is there a game that intrigues you more than this?
I'm pulling up the schedule right now. That's a very good one. It seems kind of like a weaker slate this week, as evidenced by the fact that game day is going to Knoxville for Tennessee, Florida.
Oh my God!
Doesn't do a whole lot for me, but let's just pull this up here.
You have Wisconsin.
Arkansas and A&M have did some pretty good games over the last 2 or 3 years.
Points.
I think it was like the last 2 years it's gone to overtime. Maybe it was just last year.
If you like points, watch this game. Charlie, he'll be at Wisconsin at Michigan State. That's 3 for 3.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You got Ole Miss and Georgia. See, if we only played 30 minutes, Ole Miss would be the number 1 team in the country. They are the 2011 Vikings, college edition.
I am already going to go out right now and say that East Carolina beats Virginia Tech next week.
Oh, my God.
Not looking forward to that game at all.
Only they look good yesterday at South Carolina if they could get out of their own fucking way.
That quarterback's a world beater.
That's true. Ole Miss has blown 2 21-point leads in 3 weeks, and most teams don't blow 2 21-point leads in 10 years. So it is impressive what the Ole Miss Rebels have done, both good and bad, of jumping up big against teams that either are good or with Florida State, at least we thought they were really good. We'll see how good they are in a few weeks, but to get up that big and then just and especially with the Alabama one, it's like, Yeah, we saw this 2 weeks ago. I know where this is going.
The most impressive thing is how quick it goes. It's not like the Notre Dame thing where it takes them the whole second half to get back down 4 touchdowns. With Alabama, they almost led at halftime. Punt return, fumble recovery, touchdown. They just score like goddamn madmen. And then the Florida State thing was like halfway through the third quarter, Florida State was kicking their ass again. So not only do they give up big leads, they do it in quick fashion. So that's real nice to see. Charlie, you had
other things to do. Just gonna say, Army at Buffalo.
Army.
Air Force goes to Utah State. So
what's Army scheduling week 4? They're undefeated, trying to climb into the top 25, and they're playing Buffalo.
Yep. Wow. Maryland got 3 votes in the AP poll. That's impressive. I always love. I mean, Army got 2 votes in the coaches poll. I love the bottom of these polls. It's just terrific, unbelievable. Minnesota 11 votes. How can you not be impressed? It's very impressive. Charlie, your streak of games probably going to come to an end here. Your first 3 games you picked a month ago to go to each week have all been very, very good.
Pretty good. I'm not as confident about Wisconsin and Michigan State as I was. Of the first 3, I didn't know with Texas and Notre Dame. That was kind of a crapshoot. I thought TCU and Arkansas would be good, but I didn't think it'd play out the way it did. I was pretty confident all along that Nebraska and Oregon would find a way to score points and not stop the other team from scoring points. This Wisconsin-Michigan State game could be pretty close, but objectively not be a very entertaining game to watch.
You said earlier you picked A&M, 3 different A&M games. What game did you end up picking for them? Because this would seem like the week to pick an Arkansas A&M game.
I almost picked that one. It ended up being, I don't remember what week it was. It's like week 10 or 11 or 12. I think it's A&M and Ole Miss is the Texas A&M game I picked.
Well, yeah, because you can't do this week's game because you already took Arkansas against TCU.
Oh, God damn it. That is right. You did Arkansas.
That only picking teams once really makes it a pain in the ass at times to figure it out.
It does. Any other college football notes, Stacking? Anything else we should talk about?
No.
Good.
Tommy Armstrong looked like a warrior against Oregon. Could he beat a UFC fighter? No, but he might be able to beat CM Punk in a fight.
Ha! Very good. They'd sell it out. 90,000 people. Quick note on the baseball. Stacking, the baseball season is almost done.
It is.
2 weeks away from there being no more regular season baseball. And
you think the Twins will get on a run and make the playoffs?
I sure as hell hope so. I think they can get that 14 seed from the Angels. They're only 10.5 back with about 10.5 to go.
My champagne's on ice, boys. So
you and the
I'd
72
like to
Dolphins.
Congratulate David Schottenkirk on winning the baseball title. I thought I could make a run at him, perhaps, but the Royals decided that this week would be a good week to get swept by the A's, and that's always good to see. So what little ground I was gaining on him went down in a hurry.
I was getting nervous, as Charlie and Travis know. I was getting nervous Thursday, Friday. The Rockies were 0-3, but sweeping the Padres 3-3 in the week. I think I'm 7 games clear with 2 weeks left, unless disaster strikes. I might be okay. But this might be a great moment to show history if I do end up losing. We could come back and we could replay this in a couple of weeks. So appreciate the pause.
It's true. It could be I always forget what the name.
Dewey.
Jean Valjean, the golf. No.
Jean Van de Velde.
And that guy on the 18th hole.
Well, let's see what we got
I'm not trying to say this as a jinx or anything like that. I thought I was really going to make a run after with 3 weeks left, and I don't foresee it happening anymore, so I am conceding defeat.
Well, you're 12 out, Stacking, so it's not...
I'm just glad I did
You're
better
8
than
out.
last year. Where last year I was like fighting to not finish with the worst record out of everybody.
My favorite thing about this year, other than me still out doing really well all year, is that I think right now the top 3, if not 4 guys, would all have won the whole thing last year because we've all done way better.
Last year, for some reason, a lot of people with 500, and this year, everybody did really well. Why do you think, Schottenkirk, that Amon just said "fuck it" with about a month to go? Is he a quitter? Is he a quitter like Florida State?
No, I don't want to list my top 5 or 10 things to happen so far this year in my life. Personally,
Drew
ranks pretty high because he's a baseball guy, and I appreciate the baseball guy. He knows way more than probably all of us, but yet he decides that he gets frustrated and he just shuts it down and makes a comment very rarely, but in the picks about being so frustrated that he can't even pick anymore because he's not doing well. And I find it very, very, very funny, and that's why I still enjoy. I giggle to myself every week. I put a 7 in the loss column for him. I keep running total so I can tell him at the end of the year just how far back he finished after he quit in July.
He might finish with the worst record than the Twins.
Which is going to be his better winning percentage, in the baseball picks this year or in the college football picks last year?
Boy, I think he's got enough built up. He'll have a better percentage in the baseball picks.
I think he was on a pitch count. He could only pick 140 games, and after that, he said, "No, we got to shut him down." It looks. What happened?
The best part is he's not going to finish last, though, because Garrett quit May, so that's good.
Garrett dead.
Pretty sure this Garrett fella did this last year, too. So, like, finish the season out, man.
He's nothing but consistent.
That's true.
It looks like we know who the teams in the East are likely to be. It looks like it's going to be the 3 teams from the East. Detroit's 2 back, Seattle's 2 back, Maestro's 3 back, Yankees are 4 back. What do we got here? About 13 games left or so. Anybody think we're going to get movement in the American League? Detroit, Seattle, Houston make a run here, 2 or 3 back with 2 weeks ago. Knocking off Toronto or Baltimore.
I think Detroit has the best opportunity to make a little bit of push to shake things up. Just looking at schedule. I'm not in front of me. I know they play Minnesota starting tomorrow for a few games. They have the Twins number. Indians can have the division wrapped up here in a few days, hopefully, but their postseason prospects are not great after losing to their number 2 and number 3 quarters the last couple of weeks. That's no fun. But the 3 East teams are probably the most likely, unfortunately, in the last 2 weeks. I think the National League wild card's still open a little bit. It's going to be a pretty tame last 2 weeks instead of the push that there's like usually is.
You've got Cleveland with pitching injuries. You got Strasburg injured. You got Kershaw coming back. We'll see if he can put together a couple starts before the playoffs. DeGrom is out. The Mets pitching is a little bit of a mess. So injuries, big injuries would be the story coming into the playoffs here.
But at least with Strasburg, he doesn't need surgery, at least not at this time. It's not any, no Tommy John needed, at least yet. I mean, he hasn't been officially declared out for the postseason, has he? There's just, last I saw, there was no timetable for his return.
Yeah. Postseason hasn't even started, but allow me to say this. If there was ever a fucking year that the Cubs win the World Series, it's this goddamn year. If they don't do it this year, I mean, my God, everything's falling into place. They've been the best team all year. Pitching staff's been very, very good. They've got 3 legit guys at the top of the rotation. Lineup is fantastic. Manager's probably the best in the game. If they find a way to blow up this year, it's going to be right up for the ball. Even before we see how they blow in a horrific fashion in Game 7, blowing an 8-run lead in the 8th inning or some shit, even before that. I mean, it's theirs. They have one hand around it already before the postseason starts.
Charlie, nobody thought the Cleveland Cavaliers would win.
True. Nobody did. I like Schottenkirk's point about how everything is lining up perfectly for the Cubs. It reminds me of all the college football I watched on ABC and ESPN. is it reminds me of how all the things had to go right for Jack Bauer to become president in that new TV show. That I don't know if it's going to be any good or not, but I've seen like 37 commercials for it. And that's basically, it kind of, like you can see the similarities of all the ways for Kiefer Sutherland to become president or whatever on that show, for the Cubs to finally be like, hey, guess what? We're actually good, and we're not just good, we're better than everybody else right now.
So I assume this show is like what the president's given his State of the Union, and everybody is in Congress.
Except the designated survivor.
But he's like, what is he, sick? He's like sick, so he doesn't go or something?
No, it's like they actually do this. Like
really? Wow.
The one address after each
State
year,
of the Union.
The State of the Union address.
They do that, do they?
But, they've got the presidential line of succession.
Wow.
And, president, vice president, secretary, or speaker of the House, and then, like, the
cabinet people.
President pro tempore or whatever at the Senate. And then it's a whole bunch of cabinet positions. And, like, there's someone, usually one of, like, the 3 or 4 bottom positions,
wow.
like Secretary of Transportation or Secretary of,
the special teams
urban development or, those ones. the ones that don't have all sorts of power but are, like, 19th in the presidential line. But they have one of them that goes to an undisclosed location secretly somewhere, just on the off chance that something awful happens and it kills everybody else. And it appears that that's what that TV show's about.
I got a trivia question off Charlie saying President Pro Tempore. First one to tell me who it is right now wins a prize.
Has anybody heard of him?
If you follow politics, you know the name, yeah.
He's a senator of some sort, or what?
It's a senator, so you got a 1 in 100 chance.
What does that mean?
The position is, it goes to the longest tenured senator in the Senate at the present moment, so this guy's been in the Senate longer than anybody else has.
Harry Reid? No.
Isn't that one dude from West Virginia? Maybe he's not.
Is it the black guy from Georgia?
No.
Is it the guy from New York?
You were close. What's that, Stacken?
Is it the guy from New York?
Is Charlie Rangel still alive? No.
What's that?
Is it John McCain?
No.
I don't know. I'm running out of senators I can name quickly.
What's his...
I also forget who's a senator and who's a representative.
The Utah guy. Orrin Hatch? Oh, we got it at the same time. Oh, my goodness.
Thank God.
Close call.
Thank God nothing disaster can happen. Otherwise, Orrin Hatch would be goddamn president.
Where does Tony Sperano land on that list, Charlie?
Surprisingly, after Jim Tomsulo.
Jim Tomsulo. Very good. National League wild card. We got the Mets a game up on my Giants, who are a game up on my Cardinals. Stacking. Are we scared yet? 4-game series with St. Louis and San Francisco wrapped up. We ended Giants up 1. Christ, could the Giants be any worse?
I told you, like, first week after the All-Star break, like, this is getting a little concerning. Like, no, they're fine, no worries. I feel like this is just how it's going to be in November with Trump and Clinton. Like, no, Clinton's got this easily.
No, we're fine. We're fine, Sackett. She's going to win.
No, because this is the same false confidence here.
No.
This is very concerning. I don't know what the Giants' problem is, but
they can't score. That's the problem. They can't fucking score. They got good hitters, but they all suck now. They can't score. It's very bad.
I won't
like Mormons at prom. They
don't make the playoffs.
You think they will? Well,
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Sid Hartman. Sid Hartman, hello.
You missed our talk on designated survivor.
We've been going since 6 o'clock. We're in hour 6 of the Sports Lounge.
We can't stop now.
Where are you at? Are you in the bowels?
I'm not in the bowels.
Give us a tour. Give us a tour of the stadium here. Go to the wall, 1961. That's a lot of tables. What do we got
Show
here?
us the plaque that shows the day that Mike Zimmer was born.
Where's the statue for Parcells?
Out front. Wherever 8 and 8 would be in the stadium.
Why do you think they went with purple?
I don't know. Seems like an odd choice.
Transgender issues?
Pretty heavy. Pretty heavy. Yeah, you don't want to get on one side or the other.
Is the running back dead yet?
I didn't see him, so as far as I'm concerned,
A lot of people.
He's got a brace.
A lot of people have been saying he died.
Do they not have any golf carts at the stadium to carry injured players off the field, Traxler?
they have him, but I didn't see him, and if I don't see him with my own eyes, then as far as I'm concerned, he might not be alive.
Can you make your way to the pop machine?
Yep.
Yeah, got some yellow pop.
All right now, let's all take odds. Coke or Pepsi products?
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
You know the answer to that already.
Well, is anybody there with you?
Yeah.
Who? There we go. Can you make your way down to the field and shit on the logo?
It's pretty well guarded.
2 hours after the game.
What if I can see that there's an ESPN guy on the field right now, though? Although it doesn't say live, so maybe that was actually before the game.
I see him down there.
There he is. Jeff Darlington, is that your guy stacking? Dickerson,
Yeah.
Darlington, good enough?
No. It's
Radio
no.
guy.
This.
He's out there.
There he is. It's a good view.
Nice.
It's a good
Traxler,
view.
now that you've been to both, which stadium's nicer? This one or the Metrodome after the roof caved in?
Oh, man, it'd be hard. Metrodome, that was pretty good, wasn't it?
Compared to the stadium you were at last weekend.
Better.
Better. Good. Being in the end zone, could they maybe have put that not in the end zone?
It's an alright view. At least you're on the corner. At least you're not right behind the goalposts. So, all things considered, it was fine. But I was spending most of the time like this, so which took me a while to get used to binoculars again.
How long is the press row there? How long? 20 yards?
Very long. There's, I don't know. I know there's at least 250, 300 seats, maybe more. I don't know.
Who's by you?
Peter King?
Some
Jabron?
Spanish language newspaper, and then some paper from up north, like a weekly Minnesota paper.
From War Road. Somebody from War Road.
No, it was like Pine something. It wasn't Pine City either, I don't think. But
The Brainerd Gazette?
it's the Brainerd Dispatch. As far as I'm concerned, they weren't here. So.
Did you get to go to the press conference?
No, I was in the locker room. So
How many dicks did you see?
I saw none, so I did a good job while I was in there.
Good.
Proud of myself.
Would it have been better if you saw more than none? Or are you glad you saw none?
Well, I mean, I probably should have seen one or two. I don't know. I mean, that's part of the deal, but I don't know.
And any given Sunday, Cameron Diaz was really excited whenever she saw the guys without their towels on.
That did not happen. I can confirm that.
How many yards did LL Cool J run for that year? A lot.
6,000, but there were holds on every play.
Okay. When did you get there?
I got here at about 2:30. I got into the stadium at like 3:30 or 4. So.
What did you do?
I did an interview or two. I tracked down Fran Tarkenton, so I interviewed greatest quarterback in Vikings history.
Is he for Trump?
Well, we didn't get into the Trump thing.
Well, then you missed out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't have to ask the hard questions.
No.
You said Fran Tarkenton is the greatest quarterback in Vikings history. After one game, how far or how close is Sam Bradford to the top 3 right now?
He's top 5, I would say. This is a good one to get.
Drop all the names. All the names. What do we got?
I mean, just a lot of people, man.
Was there anybody that you were surprised? Like, oh, this guy.
No, I actually expected like more national people than there were. So maybe I suppose they'll come through here at some point. But yeah, I mean all the major outlets were represented. But yeah, I was expecting maybe a little bit more big time.
Bob Costas didn't look like he was there, or was he?
No, I didn't see
Mike
him.
Tirico was there.
Yeah, I brushed shoulders with him. So quality experience. Very short, a lot shorter than I thought he'd be.
Did you see Fred Smoot?
No. Was he one of the legends they hired on the field?
He flipped the coin at the beginning of the game. Bud Grant did the horn. He blew the horn, and Fred Smoot did heads or tails.
And then walked off the field with 7 cheerleaders. It was very strange.
I have a good Bud Grant story for another time. So
Good. What is the setup there? Is the media room, food?
basically, there's this long room. It stretches all the way through the corner.
2 levels?
There's 3 levels all the way through, and then at the end, all the way on the left, kind of back towards the middle of the field, there's a big dining area. That's where we were just at with all those tables. So, and they feed you, man. They feed you. They have food the whole time. It's impressive.
How does it compare to the one other NFL game you've been to?
I mean, my seats were a lot better, and it seemed like it was a lot louder, and also Vikings quarterback was good this time. So, because Donovan McNabb was the guy last time.
What was it like watching Aaron Rodgers play in person? As the only person here, I believe, who's ever seen Aaron Rodgers play in person.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that he had some throws that are like, oh yeah, that's Aaron Rodgers out there, because it's like that's why you want to see him. So, I mean, a couple of those where I think one where they kind of got it down by the goal line. I mean, that was he had a couple quality throws, let you know it's Aaron Rodgers, and everybody else isn't.
Any other interactions? Roger Goodell was there. You didn't hurt him.
I didn't. No, they called out like 2.5 hours before the game. They're like, "Hey, Goodell's meeting downstairs." I'm like, I might as well go check this out. And he talked about the stadium, so I used that in my story. And then he was asked about the Raiders stadium situation, and of course that got a little bit of headway because he said no city should lose a team once, let alone twice. And obviously, if you're in St. Louis, that happened to you already. So that wasn't well received nationally. From what I've gathered, I haven't read everything yet, but so.
How long can you stay there?
I don't know. They just brought pizza.
Jesus.
So.
You said Mike Tirico was a lot shorter than you thought? Was Roger Goodell tall, short, or medium?
So here was the interaction that kind of defines the night. Like Goodell's speaking, there's like 25 reporters around him. He's talking very low. He's a low talker. I think he was maybe doing that on purpose. Like, I don't know if he wanted people to hear him or not, but they didn't do this at like the podium, which I don't know, should have made more sense. And then, so I turn. I'm like, I got what I needed. And I turn around. Tirico's walking by, kind of bumping into him. He's wearing a very nice suit. And then I go over and I interview Fran Tarkington. So those 3 guys all
Boom.
span of about 8 feet.
So you have brushed with more big-name NFL people today than probably the rest of us have combined, maybe in our entire lives.
I did it more in like 10 seconds than I ever would have thought. So,
how does this compare to talking with Dallas Cole last week?
It's 1 and 1A.
1 and 1A.
Yeah.
You cover the president in Watertown. Would this now be number 2?
I think that's probably about right. So
There you go. Any other questions, queries for Larry Traxler?
I think I asked my two serious questions and got all my smart ass ones in too.
Stacken wants to know for future. Huh?
He's been quiet. I know he's got something.
Stacken bit his tongue earlier today. He didn't wear his chin strap.
That's a shame.
Is Adrian Peterson's hand or his hands bigger than mine?
You know, legitimate.
Wayne Larrabee, what did he do?
Thank you. It was halftime. They kind of got like a hot dog roller thing. Like there's just hot dogs all eat. Like you can have as many hot dogs as you want. I didn't do that, obviously.
Wow.
And he's right there, man. He went for mustard. I handed him the tongs. So
There you go.
Get his Frankfurter and get on his way. Get back to the broadcast.
When you're there, and there's a lot of people that you know of, a lot of celebrity type people, and I got like everybody you've mentioned, people would probably know. Wayne Larrabee's probably on the bottom of that list. Was there maybe somebody that you saw?
Thanks.
Was there somebody that you saw that you were like, I know who this guy is, but I bet he would be surprised that I knew who he was. Like I said something to Telly Hughes, and he's like, wow, you know who I am? Yes, you're Telly Hughes, for Christ's sake. Was there a Telly Hughes there?
Not really. I think, I didn't have like an interaction with anybody that's similar to that. But I'm sure, there definitely were some people I'm sure are like that. So, I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that, I guess.
The Vikings quarterback played well. Offensive line was not good. Running game was not good. Stephon Diggs had the game of his life. They play Carolina next week. I think it'll be a game. Others, meaning everybody else, thinks it won't be. Are you feeling pretty good?
I just said they won't win.
Well, or do you think it will be close? Exactly.
Could be.
It's all the defense. If the defense keeps everybody to 20 points or less, they're going to be in every game. And Sam Bradford.
They need to be healthy. Hunter leaves this game for a little bit. Brian Robinson. They're a little banged up after 2 weeks.
They got the depth.
I like that Kriens is going with the 06 Bears strategy. They didn't win the Super Bowl, but it got them to the Super Bowl. And if you can get to that game, who knows what can happen.
The direct quote from Zimmer on Peterson's injury. I don't know. We'll get an MRI in the morning. So
short and sweet.
I don't think I can underestimate how happy I am that man got hurt. I'm very happy. The defense only 2 games in, but it seems like they don't always create turnovers, but the opportunity is there with all the fumbles tonight. And that's something they didn't do last year. They were very good defensively, but they didn't get a lot of turnovers. This defense, your impressions of the defense here, 2 games in.
Very, very good. They were a lot better with their pass rush tonight than I maybe was expecting. That was a huge difference. And also, there were a lot of scenarios where like the coverage was really good, and Rodgers had nowhere to go. So, they're making him stand back there longer, and that allows the pressure to get there. So, I thought the coverage was really good. I think that makes a huge difference when you're talking about this defense.
Stack, and are your expectations back to what they were 2 weeks ago before Bridgewater got hurt?
Well, I had them down for a loss in this one, so I'll say still 10-6. That's what I thought before. It's what I'll think right now.
Mm.
As he quietly whispered, "School."
I am very impressed, though, with what Sam Bradford did tonight. The one thing I would say regarding the defense is they need to learn to fall on the football rather than try and pick it up.
Yes.
3 or 4 of those tonight were not good. This game was, like I said, this game was far closer than what it should have been. The Vikings were clearly the better team all night long. But I mean, for all the people that bitched and moaned that the Vikings gave up a first-round pick for Sam Bradford, at least for one night, they can shut the hell up.
You shut the hell up, he says. Boom.
Counterpoint stacking. Not about Bradford, but about the scooping and fumbles and falling on them. If the Vikings aren't going to score a lot of points this year, scooping and scoring might be the best way to generate some extra points. Now, obviously, you got to work at that. You've got to be able to do it effectively. But if they can start scooping it and picking up yards, that could be the difference between 7 to 10 points in 3 or 4 games for them this year.
That's very true. But last year they were very disciplined, and through 2 games this year, it's just like, I mean, they had well over close to 140 yards in penalties tonight. That's atrocious.
Well, okay.
And Alex Boone, I just saw a quote from him. So I don't know, Traxler, if you were in the locker room for this. Did you hear him say that the fans need to shut the fuck up so they don't have false starts? That's dumb. Just be better.
Oh, my God.
Now, granted,
dumb for him to say that, or dumb for the fans to yell when they're on offense?
Well, I guess it goes both ways, but at the same time, this offensive line has been a joke so far through 2 games. So, I mean, the snap count. It's not nearly as loud when you're on offense as it is when Green Bay's on offense. I mean, just be better. But I do understand a bit where he's coming from. I just think, I think he needs to shut the fuck up too.
I'm not a fan of this Alex Boone. He seems
Man says shut the fuck up. Stacking responds with shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Seems like this guy's a poor man's Jared Allen, except Jared Allen's a Hall of Famer, and this guy's not very good. I saw a thing on my.
It was kind of like he was the first guy a lot of the reporters went to for
because he's going to talk.
Some comments. Yeah, he's going to talk. Yeah.
Also, bad news stack, and I saw on the bottom of my screen here, Zimmer thinks he might miss a week. The running back, so that's no good.
Just a week, huh?
Yep.
Wow. I mean, listen. When Asiata was in the game, they ran better. But at the same time, I'm not going to blame Adrian entirely for the lack of production tonight because every time he got the ball, there was a Packer in the backfield. What's he supposed to do?
All I ask is just give another guy a shot for a series. And they haven't done that. Give McKinnon a couple of carries. Give Asiata a couple of carries. Change it up a little bit. If the guy's rushing 6 times for 1 yard, do something different for a series, for Christ's sake. You don't need
I don't like how they've been going run on first down, and they don't get anything. Like, the defense knows what to prepare for. I think they need to do some play action because then they get in the 2nd and long. And I mean, they were in 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, even more than that. I would say well over half of their offensive series. I mean, it was bad. They've got to improve on first down.
3rd down conversions were great, and Stephon Diggs, very, very good too.
To me, he's the story of this game.
Yep.
I mean, I thought this was his coming out party. I mean, he was good last year, but. I don't know if they mentioned this on TV, but he's the 3rd Vikings receiver to have back-to-back 100-yard games in the first 2 weeks. So I mean it's Gene Washington, Chris Carter. So that's
Gene. Okay, Gene was the other guy I couldn't think of. I knew they had said Chris Carter. I mean that's impressive. He's a star. There's no other way around it.
He's in the top 3 of most yards ever against the Packers receiving. And the other 2 spots are Randy Moss. Randy Moss had 190 in 98, and he had 153 in the other game in 98. So
that was a good year.
Traxler, how many weeks until Stackin has a Stephon Diggs jersey?
Very soon, I think.
Will you be in Mitchell Tuesday covering volleyball?
I will be.
Has there ever been a bigger difference in games covered in 2 days than the Vikings stadium opener versus the Packers on a Sunday night than the 1-8 Brookings Bobcats or whatever the hell they are playing Mitchell Colonel volleyball in a gym in which there would be 150 people in?
where
Well, I mean, that's the big-time football game we're talking about there.
they'd be in the middle. That would be in the middle, obviously. So,
It'll be in the middle, yeah.
kind of funny.
There we go. When you write your book, this will be the first chapter. I covered a Trojan game on a Friday, a Viking game on a Sunday, and Brookings volleyball on a
By the way,
on a Tuesday.
it was super awesome that Vikings fans started doing the Icelandic Viking chant in the fourth quarter. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Yeah, there was. They did it, I think, 3 times, and the third one was the best. The best 3. They kind of finally got it figured out. When Fran Tarkington was leading the cheer at the beginning, I mean, it got a little muffled, but for the most part, it was good. So.
What did they do for halftime? Because I just saw pictures of it.
Prince.
They had the Minnesota Orchestra, and they played maybe 2 of their normal songs, and then they brought out some Prince's friends, and they played Purple Rain, and it was, I don't know, something raining down from some confetti basically raining down from the ceiling. It was kind of cool. And then the projection system thing out on the field.
Did you stand for the national anthem?
No.
Good.
I'm kidding. No, I didn't.
Okay.
I did.
Any other questions here? Lounge number 187. It's a new system. I believe this is all recorded. We'll get it uploaded post haste. 12:30 in the morning.
All right, I'm gonna run.
All right.
North Dakota State win the NFC East.
Oh, he says, I don't know. Oh my goodness. Power ranking stacking. Where are the Bison? Are they ahead of Jacksonville next week?
Are we talking Jacksonville State, or we're talking about
The Jaguars.
Jaguars?
The Jaguars.
I don't even know who won between the Jags and the Chargers.
Oh, the Chargers just blew them out of the water.
Yeah, well, I don't feel great about picking Jacksonville to go to the playoffs now.
The defense stacking. The defense is very good in Jacksonville.
Yeah, they are. You know what? I think pitting Gus Bradley, an NDSU coach, against the Bison might not be a very good idea, but I'm sure Bison Nation has a well-written and well-thought-out excuse as to why Gus Bradley won't get the job done and will be fired by week 7.
Has anybody asked Bison Nation what their tax rate is?
No.
28.4%.
Seems high.
I think they've changed it now to Carson Wentz's number, so it's just 11%.
Oh, makes sense. Very reasonable. Very good. So it was a late night. It was an early morning. David Schottenkirk was here for a time. Marcus Traxler was here for a time. Charlie Hildebrand and Nathan Sacken were here the entire time. Sports Lounge 187, folks. You got to look at the press box of the Viking Stadium. We'll see you next week.
187, which is also the police code for homicide.
Boom! And nobody died, as we know of, except maybe the running back, which we would like. So, Lounge 187 in the books on a Monday morning.